All right, so we're going to start by talking about the mindsets of design thinking. And the reason this is so important is because it's faster. It's just a faster, easier way to learn, right? When we understand how to design the experience we want, that's design thinking. And when we get on our journey to knowing that, and our journey to having that as our operating system, is we get the mindsets that orient us in this new paradigm, for lack of a trendier word. Let's go through what they are. The first thing I love so much, is foresight. So again, what we're talking about is the mindsets. These are the common mindsets for design thinking. And the first one, yes, you got it, foresight. So what is that? What is foresight? It's like where we can actually see, right? We can see, and we're looking forward. Yep. So we're not just like, the stuff we just tried didn't work, or now we don't get stuck. And so we innovate. And like they said, that the vision of the future paved the way for your thinking. Okay, the second mindset is it's based on inspiration. Like there's just this natural part of our humanness that we like to be inspired, right? It's sort of what makes us tick. We're creative beings. And so the sense of feeding yourself by noticing what inspires you is a big part of the mindset of design thinking. Okay, the third is, I love this one, uncertainty. Like uncertainty works. Uncertainty is a good thing. Many of you have read Jonathan Field's book called Uncertainty, where he really explores this as a concept of being not only okay with uncertainty, but actually realizing like that's what's fun, is you get to be part of the process of creating the universe. And so there is uncertainty because you could choose this or you could choose that. So what are you going to choose next? And how are you going to think about what to choose next in many ways, from working with the uncertainties? All right, the next one is a practical view. So you might know from design thinking, D school, whatever you know about design thinking, that it goes very, very hands-on. And so in the idea of, unless you can do something, unless you can take an action quickly, you're way, way too much in your head. And that is the thing about design thinking, is it brings you from your head to your hand. So you're prototyping, you're making something, you're making change in real time, running experiments. Did this work? What did I learn? Right? That's failed to nail. What did I learn from not getting it quite right? Something in there. I did something. I have more data. Right? And that's how it works. And it's this iterative process. To me, the iterative part, where we're making iterations, where we're looking at, in yoga, we use the word abhyasa. Abhyasa vairagyam ta nirodha. Right? Like there's this like, just keep practicing and getting better and get better because you learned what you just practiced. That's fail to nail. So we're never worried about not quite getting it, right? We're like, okay, sweet. And what did we learn? So it's a yes and. Many of you know this mindset. Yes and. Yes, I had this experience. I didn't nail it. And what did I learn? Right? And what I love about all this is we also see that there's a very much a visual impact. That's it. In good design thinking, it's saying, hey, can I get something? Can I discuss an idea from thinking this way? The other part of this that I don't have in here, which is huge, is empathy. Empathy is like a huge part of the mindset of design thinking, which brings us right into connectivity. So we empathize, we get inspired to try something new. That's the prototyping. So part of the hands prototype is that we're just making something. And so the quicker we can make our next new wheel or whatever it is that we're making, right? Until we can make the journey more smooth by making a better wheel or whatever our big new idea was, we just go and we do it and we see, did that work? What did I learn? And this whole process, what it does in many ways is it humbles the perfectionist, right? So the perfectionist doesn't survive in this atmosphere. Our inner perfectionist does a little sayonara, baby. And we get into this really quick iterative process of saying, okay, as far as I can see, like what's the next most obvious thing? Well, I don't know. I have to go ask, right? I have to go find someone to talk to. So it's very customer experience related, right? It's the way of thinking that gets you in the hearts and minds of those that are being impacted by this. So if we're in business, it's that. If we're in family, it's trying to get to a solution to something and realizing that, oh, I need to know everyone else's point of view. Oh, that would be helpful, right? And then I'll be able to actually have new insight. I'll be inspired. I'll see things in a different way. And this process of being able to prototype something that we haven't tried before and then try that, right? That's what it is. And then when that works a little bit, but not quite all the way, there's an insight from that reflective process. And that's the last thing I'm going to write here is around, it's really this watery, super watery, flowy part of it's based on reflection. And I love this because I know so many of us feel like it's missing in our lives, that looking in the pond and just receiving our own insight. And what happens is when we don't have that, it leads to exhaustion. We need to keep learning the same thing again and again and again. And that's exhausting. Right? Whereas when we actually have time to what did I learn in the last hour? Can I apply that in the next hour and see if it goes any better? I had to do that today, like hardcore with technology. Things not working, like really not working. And me just being like, okay, apply design thinking. Okay, empathize with yourself. Oh, you poor thing, get over it and figure out the next best solution, right? And then what are we really trying to do? We're trying to teach easily online using technology, right? And then, what might else be able to happen here? Like now that I get what's really trying to happen, I need a new prototype. Let me think a little bit outside my box. Let me get out of the way I have been doing it, which was setting up cameras and using these whiteboards, and let me just actually get on my iPad and Zoom and record down to okay, that could be faster. Now let me write a new process and record. This is my next test. And this record function to me is very important. I'm going to add it on here, is that we record what I did, so that we know exactly what is the prototype. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes we need to discuss our idea. We need to discuss what our prototype is. And we might need even to draw it out, right? This is where we have our little pencil. Yeah, that's my pencil. Oops. I love this tool, right? I'm going to slide that down, make it a little more fine, see if I can draw. So we might need to get out our little handy dandy pencil. One of my problems with drawing is I go too fast. My mind goes faster than my hand. So I need to draw better so that it's at the same rate. That's right? And then you're like, oh, right. We talked about this drawing part, that it's not just, we might not just discuss an idea, but we might actually even illustrate an idea, right? We might actually draw out idea. And then the more we do that, basically what will happen is we'll start to design a better prototype. We'll design a better test to run. And honestly, in the beginning, you're learning this and it just seems like a process, this design thinking process. And then you get like, oh, it's a process. Okay. And its mindsets are around, hey, I just need to be looking forward. I need to be more concerned with potential solutions that haven't arisen yet. Right. And in being able to run an experiment, to prototype it, and just knowing that, hey, the uncertainty of how that's going to go, like that's part of the fun. Have some safe parameters. And right, in the process of this, you get to actually do something and see how it works. You run your test and you see how it works. And then the whole thing, it all happens again, right? You run your test, the test brings you back to reflection. You reflect, and all of a sudden, bam, you're back in the place of looking forward. You're back in the loop. So that's a little bit about the mindsets for design thinking. You want to be thinking about this and you want to be starting to apply it to like, hey, what is the next design? What is my next problem I'm solving?